The history of Classic WoW, 2007 to 2019.
Hello friends, Punkrat with a very serial documentary.
Okay.
I made a video about 3 months ago talking about the private server community. I noticed many people within the comment section of that video mentioning that they were actually unaware of the story that led to Blizzard's announcement of Classic WoW 2 years ago. I figured I'd make a documentary style piece to cover the story. So here it is, the entire story, going back over a decade. It all started in 2007. A
Whenever
seed
they
was
introduced
planted in the
BC.
fertile soil, which are the original World of Warcraft forum boards.
Yep.
The seed was planted, germinating slowly in the damp grounds. It was a seed of skepticism and discontent, a paranoia of what was to come. Heretics, they called us. Doomsayers. Fearmongers. But unfortunately,
that's a private server
those
player.
fears were placed in reality. In January 2007,
It's the Butcher.
the Burning Crusade had launched. Although it was foreshadowing to what was to come, it was still one of the greatest World of Warcraft experiences in the history
Talking about
of
Burning
the game.
Crusade.
TBC hit most marks. It retained the core MMO features that made the game tick, while still being entry-level friendly enough to strike a good balance between the different types of players. But despite that fact, it exemplified a trend which was worrying to the most die-hard of World of Warcraft fanatics.
And that is.
The first change was the death of World PvP with the additions of flying mounts. Along this came the annexing of old zones in Azeroth.
I'm sorry, but I disagree that flying killed world PvP. We talk about this every day, so I don't want to get into it too much, but I do disagree that flying killed world PvP. I think that there's a lot of other things that did it too.
Since the new expansion was almost entirely focused on the Outlands. No life losers were dying to taste the blood of casual scum trying to do their quests.
Of course.
But since they were all flying up in the sky, hiding from the lurkers below, the dangerous open world dynamic was no more, and the casuals had become a protected class. Fast forward a couple years, and World of Warcraft was at an all-time high heading into Wrath of the Lich King.
Yep.
The allure of Arthas as the main antagonist was the only marketing necessary. Although World of Warcraft was the biggest game at the time, bringing in more money than you could ever imagine or ever really dream for, it wasn't enough
until you made mobile
for the
games.
corporate monarchs at Blizzard Entertainment. Going into Wrath of the
Hillary
Lich King,
Clinton.
the plan was to expand the player base even further into the casual markets.
Yep.
Random Dungeon Finder now teleported you to your dungeon. Heroic dungeons were so easy that you could blast through so many within one day.
I don't know what's funny about this, the fact that he's talking about how easy heroic dungeons are, and it's this stupid little dog being put to bed by some fucking mom probably who thinks the dog's her child. Like, I don't know why, it's just like the combination there, it's just kind of funny to me.
That it would give you enough badges to fully gear out your character, raid ready.
It's okay, you're gonna get your badge gear, little puppy, it's fine. You're gonna get all the gear that you need. Just go to bed and you'll wake up tomorrow and the mobs will reset and you'll be able to get your badges again.
I can just imagine it, man.
The raid tiers were trivialized, raid attunements removed, further exacerbating that same issue. Uldar might have been your favorite raid within Wrath of the Lich King, but it became largely trivialized by the time ICC and Trial of the Crusader were released. The game started to revolve around daily quests, pulling you further and further away from an organic MMO experience.
I don't feel like daily quests are antithetical to an MMO experience, but I think that they are antithetical in a lot of ways to a sandbox MMO experience. And at least they can be. I know that like even BDO, like every game, here's the thing is that like everything has some form of like a calendar reset. So you had like raid resets on Tuesdays. You had, Onyxia resets every 5 days. So you're always going to be able to get people to play in terms of like a cyclical thing, no matter what you do. But even though that's the case, I still wish that they didn't focus so strongly on daily quests like they have. I didn't mind dailies. No, I don't mind dailies either. I think dailies are great. I think dailies are very, very good. But the issue is the fact that like dailies became the end game. And that's like a big problem that Blizzard has kind of had, is that whenever they have like a system, they use that system to basically encompass the entire end game, and there's nothing else really for players that don't want to participate in that one system.
This, however, was only the beginning of the end. A couple months before the Wrath of the Lich King released, the greatest piece of foreshadowing was about to take the player base by storm. In July 2008, Vivendi Games, the parent company of Blizzard, merged with Activision, and the era of Activision Blizzard was thrusted upon us. The player...
Very true. Extremely true. This picture right here, what does this picture mean? This is the same picture. This is the same person that we saw earlier. Right there. It's the same one. Exact same picture. Here's the thing, guys. Here's the impact that I think Activision has made on the game. I think Activision has changed the way that Blizzard releases products, and they've changed the release schedule of products, and they've set expectations for profit that Blizzard has to create player unfriendly systems and player unfriendly monetization devices in order to meet. That's what I think Activision has done. I don't think Activision has had any impact on adding Dungeon Finder or LFR or anything like that. I think that they purely just look at the overall performance, how much money is this game making, and when are releases of the game coming out. Those are the two things that I think Activision looks at, and those are the things that everything basically comes back from.
Now under the reign of their overlords at Activision Games. And World of Warcraft was never to be the same again. The golden age of Warcraft had seemingly come to an end. The next decade was going to be a downward spiral predicted by the oracles of the World of Warcraft forums from back in the Burning Crusade.
Not the Butcher, Patchwork.
And Activision Blizzard had found their new lapdog, a sinister corporate underling who corrupted everything he touched. This demon's name was J Allienak Brackos the Corrupt. He failed his way to the top of every single studio that he touched. He decimated Star Wars galaxies and escaped the burning ship before it all went to hell. He then brought his cursed omen to the World of Warcraft team as a lead game developer.
I never played Star Wars Galaxy. I have no idea.
The World of Warcraft team in Cataclysm.
I like how, you know, the funniest thing about it to me is like seeing these dudes like from like just a few years ago, and they're like younger, they're more vibrant, there's no gray hair, and you look at J Allienak Brackos now, man, that dude's hair is half fucking gray. Like, he is so sick of hearing that, oh, think you do, but you don't shit. Like, it's like the president almost. I mean, he's part of the company. Like, he's fucking, like, I walked by that guy, I'm like, he's mad. I don't want to talk to him. Like, he's mad. Like, this is before they even made him the president or anything. I was just like, nah, he's mad. I don't want to do it. Because I was going to come up to him, I'll be like, so what do you think about Classic WoW, right? Just the day it came, the year it came out. I'm like, actually, no, I'm not going to do it.
Which was the true beginning of the end for retail World of Warcraft. Cataclysm released with an entirely new game engine, and the old feeling of WoW had been axed. Classes redesigned, and most importantly, the entire concept of this expansion was that Deathwing had destroyed the entire world of Azeroth, and with that came a complete redesign and oversimplification of all zones and all quests, making the entire experience a linear theme park ride with little to no challenge at all. The game...
I feel like the game had no challenge in Wrath leveling. Honestly, like, the fact is, like, the quests during Wrath, like, why was Vanilla WoW, like, questing hard? It's because the classes were terrible. Like, you were so much more powerful in Wrath of the Lich King as a player, as a character, than you were in Vanilla WoW. Like, you just had better talents, better optimization, everything was better. So I don't really think that it's entirely true that, you know, Cataclysm necessarily made questing, like the quests themselves, easier or simpler, because a lot of the quests in Classic WoW are actually very simple. Like, they're very simple. The reason why people think that they're hard is because they take a long time. So basically, Classic WoW, it's the difference between killing 10 Murlocs and getting 10 heads in Cataclysm and killing 10 Murlocs and getting 1 head in vanilla. That's the difference in my mind, is they removed a lot of the tediousness of the game, which you can argue is good or bad. I think that it's bad. I think they should have kept the tediousness in the game, because I think the tediousness made people focus more on upgrading their gear because they spent so much more time in combat with mobs rather than doing quest experience. But I can see why they're doing this, right? Like, I played Black Desert Online. There were no quests in Black Desert Online. You just grinded mobs. That's it. I have no problem with that. Like, I like dungeon grinding. It's fine. You just sit there, you kill the mobs over and over and over, and you never think about it. But I also like questing too. I think it just depends on, the mood that I'm in. I think that's the way a lot of people feel, honestly.
Never recovered from this. Cataclysm started off strong, largely led by the cinematics and marketing campaigns that Blizzard pushes on every release. But the more people realized what was going on to their beloved game, the more people started to drop off like flies. And by the end of Cataclysm, the worst game design decision ever made was announced. The introduction of LFR, or Looking for Raid. No longer did you need to forge a community to experience endgame. No longer...
Was LFR worse than LFD? I'm thinking about this. This is a genuine concern. I'm thinking about BDO so bad. LFR, I feel like LFR would have never happened if you didn't have LFD. But the truth is that, like, the dungeons and everything like that, I feel like if we had Looking for Dungeon right now and you took out LFR, the game would be okay. Like, in retail WoW, it would be okay. But if you didn't take out LFR, you kept LFR in the game and you removed the dungeon finder, the game would still suck. So, and like, it's not like LFR being removed would make the game better entirely, but it would be a huge step forward. And I guess, yeah, I agree with that. Actually, yeah, LFR probably was... I don't know. What do you guys think? What was the biggest singular decision Blizzard has ever made in WoW that was a mistake? I feel like LFR might have actually been it. Titan Forging? I don't know. It's really hard for me to say. I think that Titan Forging is not as bad as LFR. I think that Titan Forging is really bad, but LFR is worse because it diminishes social systems in a much stronger way. Yeah, I would say that's probably it. Flying, I don't think flying is that bad, right? Flying in Azeroth is not even that bad. As I said, there is more world PvP in War Mode and Retail WoW than there is in Classic WoW. Flying has no impact. Flying, it has an impact, right? Flying is not the determining factor of world PvP. Wrong? You guys don't even play WoW. Like, come on, relax.
No longer did you have to try.
What?
The game and its mysteries were now handed to you on a silver platter in the style of a queued automated raid simulation with LFR. As the expansions went by, these greedy attempts at expanding the player base continued unabashedly. Twinks were removed from the game. All classes became more and more homogenized, and the Fun Police meme had been born. Not to mention, an in-game shop was introduced, targeting the most mentally deficient of players with cheap impulse buy marketing tactics. Throughout this entire downfall, J Allienak Brackos' narcissism knew no bounds. He was the leading vision of World of Warcraft from his ivory tower, designing the game entirely around his own needs and wants, not the players. At one BlizzCon, he was challenged about flex rating, and subconsciously, the truth came out.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's a little bit much, that he's designing the game around his own. Like, that seems like it's a bit much to me. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I feel like this is a bit of a hyperbole.
He stated how flex rating was designed for players like himself and his guild of crusty boomers.
It's satire?
A guild
okay,
with
that's
no
fine.
ability to compete in the raid scene, but still wanted to raid extremely casually.
Yeah.
He talked about how flex rating allowed him and his retirement home guildmates to collect epics as well and join the party. He was out of touch. He didn't know how to connect with the audience of his product on a human level, because, in fact, he was not human. It was revealed on a 4chan board that he was actually created in the same laboratory as Mark Zuckerberg in the underground facilities of Area 51. He was synthesized in that lab by Joe Dante, the director of the movie Gremlins from 1984, which was the same
Of
year
course.
that J Allienak Brackos graduated from high school.
Of course.
Coincidence?
I think not.
I think not. The game we all knew had become a mere shadow of itself. It became an amalgamation. Activision had infiltrated and infected the Blizzard Entertainment offices like...
Can we fucking look just for a second here about how much bullshit this poll was? Watch the knockback here. I moved out of the knockback. And I moved out of that one.
Had infiltrated.
And right here, I'm moving here.
And infected the Blizzard Entertainment.
Dude, it's been over a year. Can you get over it already?
Okay, actually
It's been like a year and a half, dude.
It didn't even show up halfway through. Like, I had literally like a quarter of a second to react to that.
Move on, dude.
It's bullshit, man. Look at that face, dude. Look at that face. I knew it was about to happen, right? I was pissed. I was fucking furious.
Like a virus. This pushed more and more of the core player base away. And once games like Dota 2, League of Legends, and other mainstream alternatives hit the market, many players ditched the World of Warcraft for something fresh and new. But Blizzard still had that one demographic that they had spent so many years chasing in the push for extending profits for the shareholders.
Yeah.
The consumers who don't ask questions, but merely consume, and consume, and consume.
Yep.
They milked and milked and milked their target consumer until there was just no more milk left in the teat. This model was not sustainable. Once games like Fortnite came out, the dances in Fortnite were just too much for these normie consumers to resist. They swiftly ditched World of Warcraft so they could floss and dab to their heart's content.
Yeah,
Things looked bad.
That's true.
But there was still hope on the horizon. A glimmer of hope from years prior. A hooded Avenger who
I think that
traveled all the way to the Eye of Sauron itself.
Oh my god.
BlizzCon.
Oh
he may look just like a boy to you, but he is no mere boy.
Oh my god.
Just like Edward Elric from Full Metal.
Of course.
Looks can be deceiving. He was one of the most powerful mortals in the land. He fought his way to the council of narcissistic game developers at Activision's lair, and set off a chain of events, which would forever be mired in the history of Azeroth for generations to come. He is an unspoken hero. In fact, his name is still unknown to this day. An unknown martyr who thrusted himself into the spotlight, sacrificing his body for the greater good of his people. A hero of the Horde.
Oh my
a hero
god.
Of the Alliance.
Okay.
His legacy knows no faction. He is the avatar of Azeroth.
I feel like this is a vanilla WoW player. This is straight up. This is the same fucking picture that I had. Remember that one picture I showed you guys from back in vanilla WoW that I had where I was sitting with my hood on playing classic WoW? Like, this is the exact same fucking thing, man. I feel like this is it. This is the avatar of classic WoW players right here. And it's pretty fucking cool to see, right? I guess, like, yeah, now that you think about it, I guess a lot of the motivation for classic WoW happened right after this. But I feel like what it really was is that WoD came out and it sucked. And because it sucked, people wanted classic. And that's why a lot of the people that were like, oh yeah, Legion, like there were less people that wanted classic in Legion comparatively than wanted it in WoD. And then whenever BFA came out, everybody wanted it. What, you think Legion's worse than was worse than WoD?
No, I'm just saying this guy changed lives. This guy set in motion events that it's changed everybody. You know, it's changed your perspective on gaming. It's changed your life in some way. You know, this guy seriously, he did something when he went up there, man.
He did. He did. He ruined a lot of lives too. People are playing classic WoW right now instead of doing anything else. And it's beautiful.
Azeroth. On this faithful day, the words were spoken.
I Have you ever thought about adding servers for previous expansions as they were then?
No.
No.
And by the way, you don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't.
No. And by the way, you don't want that to be that either. You think you do, but you don't.
The reaction from J Allienak Brackos was, you think you do, but you don't. His narcissism again was on full display. This was the event that our Holy Avenger triggered, which caused a line of following events that led to today.
I think Nostalrius shutting down was the next big thing.
Or neglect of demand does not squelch the demand. So the players did exactly what you think they would, circumvent the system. The statement alone triggered a huge influx and demand
private server
for private servers. Unofficial vanilla realms, developed by sweaty Europeans smoking cigarettes in their mother's attics. The seed had officially bloomed. Server after server, each one outdoing the last, until peak private server vanilla experience was achieved. A group of selfless devs grouped together to form the greatest private server movement to ever grace the internet.
I do feel like Nostalrius probably was the best private server, right? I mean, I didn't really know, like, I didn't play on it myself, but like everybody that I've talked to, I've seen other people playing on it, it was like the best private server. And that's why Blizzard shut it down.
Was Nostalrius,
the least corrupt too.
Progressive Realms. It was unlike any server the player base had ever seen. And like anything of quality on the internet, it went viral through the power of word of mouth. 1 million accounts created, 15,000 players online every single day, with thousands waiting in the queue.
That's a lot.
Thriving community.
That is a lot, man.
Players from all realms together on one mega vanilla journey. But it was almost too good to be true. And as you would think, it didn't exactly end well. They got too big for their own good. The previous private realms were smaller and more spread out, but Nostalrius broke that notion. In fact, they shattered it. All of the other servers almost died overnight after the Nostalrius launch.
He's got them out, man.
Nostalrius absorbed all of their players, while simultaneously building enough name recognition and community notoriety to attract brand new, disgruntled retail players to the classic experience.
That's how everybody was. Like, I remember whenever Nostalrius came out, people were just playing Nostalrius because they hated current WoW. Like, I think that people almost played the game out of spite. They're like, fuck you, Blizzard. We're playing Nostalrius. We don't have time for this shit at all. I almost played on Nostalrius. I'd never played on a private server. I never did. Not even once. But Nostalrius was the closest that I ever came.
1 million accounts created on a private server. The Activision team of lawyers were clearly put on the task.
Oh, that's the Avengers.
See, despite everything that the Nostalrius team did well, there was one fatal kink in their armor. An Achilles heel, so to speak. An oversight that at the time seemed like a bad idea. But in the grander vision, in hindsight, it was destiny. The actual server infrastructure that the Nostalrius team was hosted on was located in France. See, most private servers were hosted in Russia. This gave them protection from American cease and desist letters. Vladimir Putin would wipe his arse with them and light them on fire. The server was left with no choice but to close shop. It became a viral sensation. Videos started to spread of thousands of players in Ironforge, Ogremar, Stormwind, preparing for the Azerothian apocalypse. It was done, and overnight, hundreds of...
Can we just take into consideration the fact that there are so many people there and there's no fucking lag, hardly? Like, I mean, really, there's like, where's the lag?
Thousands of World of Warcraft's most die-hard fans were left without a home. Cold on the streets.
Wait, I was gonna trade me 30 gold. I didn't notice that. Shit.
It's always been
the most
disenfranchised, desperate masses
that
rise up and revolt to overthrow the throne.
Absolutely.
Which is exactly what happened. The community was not about to take this one. lying down. It was time to form a coalition
I like that
and send
picture,
a
dude.
message to the corporate overlords at Activision Blizzard. It
That's
was
us.
time
We're
to
the Power
take
Rangers.
matters into our own hands. So what did the vanilla soldiers do? Exactly what you'd expect. Meme. The community memed. And memed. And memed. And memed some more.
Yep.
It became a movement. So Activision did exactly what you would expect from a corrupt, tyrannical power. They deployed their militant shills. They mounted a defense of the
boy.
Blizzard IP,
Oh,
but
boy.
severely underestimated their
Oh,
opponents.
boy.
It was a futile effort. Once again, Activision Blizzard was severely out of touch. Their feeble attempt at countering the storm headed in their direction was swiftly overwhelmed. Their fortifications decimated. I still have my battle memorabilia from the clash all those years ago.
I feel like people are a little bit too hard on Panzer. Like, I think people, like, they kind of forget about the fact that it's a game. Like, they make all these, like, really serious personal attacks. Like, the thing is, like, the classic WoW community, they're just so intense about everything and so, like, vitriolic about it that even somebody who's saying, yeah, I don't really like classic WoW, I don't think it'd be a good idea, this person gets, like, attacked constantly, you know? Like, this is... It's ridiculous. Like, the way that people responded to it, and even now, right? If you even say, like, retail, some things in retail are better than classic, like, people just go absolutely apeshit. Like, they're completely unreasonable. No, simp? Well, no, here's the thing, right? You call me a simp all you want, right? You call me whatever the fuck you want to call me. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to say what the fucking truth is. You know what really being a simp is? It's not being a bitch to one girl. It's being a bitch to fucking 30,000 other bitches that can't admit the fact that sometimes disagreeing with somebody over a video game is not a reason to fucking harass them in real life. Don't be a fucking bitch about that. It's ridiculous.
300,000 soldiers amassed.
Yep.
And the strategy was set in motion. We had the men. All we needed was an entry point, and we found our Trojan horse. His name was Mark Kern, a founding member of the vanilla team, an exiled agent, a based Twitter Chad.
Yep.
The epitome of the red
Wait,
pill.
he changed his fucking chin?
He was perfect.
Oh my god.
The strategy was set. The soldiers were packed in the Trojan horse, and Mark Kern gave us access. Mark Kern brought the petition straight to the top of Blizzard, right to Mike Morhaim's lair. Activision had been infiltrated, and our Trojan horse opened the door for what was to be the first steps towards a glorious victory.
I remember watching this.
The Nostalrius developer team
was awesome.
Was invited to a roundtable discussion at the Blizzard HQ.
Yep.
They went to work advocating for the classic experience, and we couldn't have asked for better ambassadors.
So I remember Mark Kern, if I remember right, I could be wrong about this, but I remember the story was that Mark Kern was going to personally bring a list of every single person's name who wanted Classic WoW back, and he printed every single one of them out onto a sheet of paper, and he was going to deliver them personally to Blizzard Entertainment headquarters. And whenever he came over there, and he did this, right? These are all the stacks of paper. There are apparently employees that were offering to help Mark, but Mark, just as Jesus carrying his cross to the fucking the mountain, would only accept his own help, and he took it all by himself. Yeah, the literal God, an actual literal God. The story is so ridiculous, and the best part about it is that it's real. It's one of the craziest things, right? Is that, like, some of these stories, like, there's no way that you could write something that's that. Well, you could, of course, you could write something like that. Star Wars was made up, but the fact that these things are just, like, so completely off the wall and insane whenever you really step back and look at them, and they've happened, and people just accept this. This is just what happened. It's great.
They gathered all the stats from the Nostalrius days and presented the potential of Classic, explained the theory behind why vanilla was in such high demand. And lo and behold, As rumored, at the next BlizzCon, a familiar face resurfaced on the stage. The ultimate irony.
I was here.
The demon had seemingly been enslaved.
You guys notice like all his fucking hair is gray now? Like 1 year. I don't know what the fuck happened in that 1 year. But holy shit.
J Allienak Brackos entered the scene, looking subdued as ever and remorseful. It was the perfect retribution. He announced the official confirmation that Classic WoW was being developed for the player base. The tune had changed, and the universe had seemingly been restored to its rightful order.
Of course.
The battle had been won, but the war still rages on.
Absolutely.
Flash forward today, and we are on the verge of realizing the dream. We've recruited Lord Baldicus to carry our flag and merge his Asmongold army into the battle line, doubling our collective power. They say, if you can't beat him, join him after all.
Okay.
Lord Baldicus had become an ambassador for the classic dream.
Yeah?
With Lord Baldicus at our side, the word has spread to the masses.
It has.
Millions have amassed behind the soldiers of Classic,
Yep.
forming the final frontier. The future is inevitable, and our collective power
Lord Baldicus
is not to be underestimated. On August 26th, the soldiers charge the gates, and J Allienak Brackos will be brought to his knees, banished to another realm. It seems that the war has been won.
I guess so.
At least for now. So get ready, friends.
Jeez.
It's time to claim the spoils of war.
It sure
We
is.
fought hard for this day. And again, on August 26th, we finally return to Sanctuary, Vanilla World of
Fuck
Warcraft.
yeah, dude.
Welcome
Fuck
home.
yeah, dude. That was a good video. That was a really good fucking video. Lord Baldicus has accepted his role as king of incels. He now travels the world doing seminars on how to lose your virginity. It involves getting Twitch famous. Okay, Punkrat. Mark Kern's job of protecting the realm is done. Some say he's retired near a beach resort where he mainly focuses on red-pilling the masses through base tweets. Panzer was never forgiven by the community. Apparently she's streaming on Facebook or some shit. J Allienak Brackos is secretly plotting his return, constructing a plan to ruin Classic WoW so he can return to BlizzCon and say, I told you so. The Classic soldiers are bathing in the sweet waters of victory. No more sorrow. The tears are that of happiness this time. Pog Champ. The Hooded Avengers' whereabouts are still on. Punkrat is still in Twitch maximum security penitentiary. He's looking for the same lawyer that Olendy and Soda Poppin work with. Oh yeah, I remember this. Because he got suspended because he showed a dick on his screen. I forgot all about that. Damn, that's crazy. So, well, the thing is, like, I don't know. I feel like probably just using an example of Soda because Soda got the 24-hour for the dick thing, you know? Free Punk. Well, he's back, right? That's why we're able to watch his videos now. That was 10 out of 10. Yeah, I think that was genuinely a really good video. I liked it a lot.